Good morning again, everybody. It's Thursday. Now, I'd just like to point out, Mr. Thumbs Down Man hasn't yet thumbs downed yesterday's video. So come on, Mr. Thumbs Down Man. You've got to keep up here. You really have. Right, what is the Thursday Lucky Dip? Another Blue Mountain. But this is Blue Mountain type, not Blue Mountain. So then, the Blue Mountain type, they are of course the Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee stock beans grown in other places. It is a gourmet coffee, grown best in volcanic soils, leaving the coffee with a full flavour and a heavy acidity. And of course we have these gentle aromas and berry and citrus notes that we've had with the other Blue Mountains, because it's amazing coffee. So then, the Lucky Dip has been very kind to me this week. 2 different versions of Blue Mountain coffee in the same week is a good week. I'm going to have a moment again, do excuse me. See, everything about Blue Mountain coffee is just amazing. So, today's car is a car I'm not very happy with, to be honest with you. It's this slotted Michael Schumacher Mercedes DTM car. And I think it's rubbish. Now, I'm going to put a few noses out of joint here and say something controversial, but it's my channel and it's my personal opinion. I don't like these slotted DTMs. I think they're rubbish. And here's why I think they're rubbish. I've got 2 of these Mercedes. If I set them up with the same setup, same amount of turns on everything, same width, they handle completely differently. How can 2 seemingly identical designed cars be so inconsistent? I don't get it. I've got 2 Alphas, and again, you can set them up with the same settings and they handle completely differently. And the handling you get from this car is terrible. It is impossible to stop it jumping out of a slot in a corner, no matter what I do to it. And when I did the original video, I had trouble with it, and loads of people in Marty's livestream chats and comments on the video and messages that I got said, oh, try this, try that, put the rear wheels inboard more, try and get... I have done everything. I have moved, you'll notice these are quite inboard at the moment. I have tried them from as far out as possible to as far in as possible. I have tried them at the front, the same. I've put spacers in, I've taken spacers out. I have moved the weight around. I have tightened the pod. I have loosened the pod. I have tightened and loosened the body screws. I have done every combination of all of the adjustments you can possibly do to this car, and it still handles worse than the Spud. This car is overcomplicated and just a disappointment. It looks pretty, it will end up on a shelf and it won't get run, along with the other 3 I've got. And I won't be buying any more. It turned out to be an urban myth, but there's that kind of colloquial story that NASA spent millions of dollars developing a biro that could write upside down in space, and the Russians used a pencil, which is as it turns out, not true, but a good example of two different approaches to design. One is to use as much technology as possible, and the other is to use as little as possible. This is a biro that writes upside down in space. There are little fiddly bits here. It's designed by an engineer. It's thought out in an engineering way. If you are somebody who really wants to spend ages and ages and ages tinkering with things, turning screws a 16th of a turn or whatever it is, and if your idea of fun is to spend 3 days solidly getting this car to a point where you can run 1 lap with it, get one of these. But if not, get a pencil. And by a pencil, I mean probably a Revo slot. It's 2 pieces of metal, 4 rattle bolts and 4 wheels. It goes really well, and it goes loads better than any of these things will, straight out the box. I can tune this to death and it will never run as well as a Revo slot does out the box. So like I say, I think I missed the memo on why you're supposed to say all slotted cars are brilliant, because I've got 4 and they're all rubbish. Sorry, that was a bit ranty. Talking of rubbish, it's time for Mrs. Slottar's Christmas joke. What do you get when you cross a snowman with a radio? Cool music. Now, after yesterday's terrible joke, we are getting better again here. Well done, Mrs. Slottar. See you tomorrow, less ranty.